Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Now we are going to say if Ukraine had an empire in 2022. Now you may be wondering, Russia's literally right here. Russia's literally right there in Ukraine as we speak. So what do you mean Ukraine has an empire? Well, Ukraine of course is going to be represented in red. And there's going to be no NATO, no EU, no anything for this video, just because easy. So, Ukraine is going to actually unite with Poland for this video. Ukraine is going to unite with Poland because I have a feeling they wouldn't just invade Poland like that. So yeah, they unite, which looks really weird. And then together they invade Czechoslovakia. Now, to invade Czechoslovakia, we just have, yeah. It's not really a good idea to just do this. Because, you know, they're invading. They cut them in two, take Slovakia's capital. Prague is then taken, and after that, we have both the countries surrendering. Now, this country looks very, very long, and it is. But you may be like, why are they going to go after Germany next? The answer is no, because according to a treaty after World War II, the German-Polish border is no longer allowed to change. But you may be like, well, they're not Poland anymore, it's Poland-Ukraine. Which, you know, fair that, but they're just not going to go after Germany, because that's too much to the west. They then invade Moldova, which brings Romania into the war. Which, yeah. I don't see how that's bad. We then have basically all Moldova being captured within a few days. Meanwhile, Romania makes a push from the north. But it is quickly kicked out as the Polish part of the Poland-Ukraine is full in effect. We then have Hungary joining the war in hopes of not being invaded and, you know, be friends, and because they now have a great power on their border, which they don't like. So after they make a good invasion too, they stop. Hungary stops at after taking all Transylvania. Meanwhile, Ukraine pushes through and takes all of this. And they take all of Romania's coast and makes a big encirclement here. And after capturing Bucharest and this whole encirclement being taken, we have Romania surrendering to Ukraine. But this place has some extremely diverse regions that need to be split up. So let's just make some of those regions real quick. And, you know, since Poland and Ukraine are just the two main entities of this, it's basically like an Austria-Hungary situation, but not really. Next, they want to go after Belarus, which then that'll bring Russia into the war, but they kind of don't want to do that. But they do it anyway, which then automatically brings Russia into the war. Because, you know, it's Russia. Which then Lithuania helps in order not to be, you know, invaded. And then Georgia also is kind of forced to join as they are also being invaded technically. And yeah, I want to call this this is called the Eastern European War, which, you know, consists of these countries. And yeah, let's get right into the war. Now, I know Kaliningrad is heavily fortified, so they only make a push through here, but that's about it. A push into Crimea is started, taking the entire peninsula. But Russia wants to get Georgia out the war as fast as it can, so it uses its breakaway regions to its advantage, takes the coast, and pushes through Georgia, and eventually just stops there. And just kills the entire thing. Meanwhile, Russia makes a push through the Donbass region, Donetsk and Luhansk or something. And then Lithuania starts a tiny push of its own, while the Polish part starts a big push of its own. And while Belarus tries to start an offensive over here, it backfires horribly because that's where Kyiv is, and they don't want to, abandon Kyiv. Meanwhile, it's not going good for Poland, Ukraine in the east. But after a spear towards Minsk, and they capture the city, we then have an encirclement being almost made, but the Belarusians, retreat out of it, and the Russians take a bit more Ukraine's coast in the east, in the east, but in the northern area of Ukraine, they do push back to the Donbass region. And yeah, also we have that's not an encirclement, just so you know, it's just, an area being cut off. And it should have taken way shorter, but Kaliningrad finally falls. Meanwhile, a second landing in Crimea is started, which stalemates right there. And after Ukraine pushes into Donbass and takes the entire thing, it's all downhill for Russia here. Now, you may be like, aren't you just underestimating Russia? Listen, if Russia can get stalemated by Ukraine with 1/3 of its army, if their entire thing is mobilized with Poland and Ukraine and Lithuania, and basically all these countries, do you really think they stand a chance? Of course they stand a chance, but no, they practically don't. We then have Belarus basically die, as only Russian troops are there now. And then Crimea goes back into Ukrainian hands. And then we have a push down the Black Sea, which goes pretty well at first, but does have some pushback to it. But it doesn't have any pushback to it? The Ukrainian invasion of Russia. And then Belarus has all of its land finally occupied. And then they're only in Russia now. And then Finland, seeing a prime opportunity to get some land and some reparations out of this, they decide to join the war with Estonia. Russia, not expecting this at all, because why would they? Why would they expect Finland to join? Finland begins making an offensive into Russia, and they've been waiting for this. Basically, most of their military training is to do with Russia. So, yeah. So that's the entire reason. They eventually have some special forces cut off the Kola Peninsula from the rest of Russia, which effectively means that this part is now Finland. Estonia makes a tiny push of its own, even though they're incredibly weak. And they finally meet up with each other. If you haven't known already, they're not winning this war. So, just bada boom, bada bang, and yeah, they don't, eventually, I know I'm skipping ahead here, but they won't win. So, yeah. After they invade far enough, Russia does surrender. And, yeah, we just have Russia getting humiliated here. And you'd be like, why didn't poor Lithuania get any land? Well, it's because Poland and Ukraine just decided to say no. They say, hey, you can have reparations, you can say haha, but no. Finland gets some good borders. I forgot Estonia's borders, but let's just say they gained some land, along here. And yeah, Russia's forever crippled, and yeah, that